Hello again, welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to go over some practice tips that should aid you in your quest to become the best guitar player that you can be. So these are not in order of importance or anything, but these have stood me in good stead whenever I've been trying to get better at the instrument and try to master certain things. So stay tuned. If you're new to the channel and you like this video, do give it a thumbs up, and of course do subscribe for future content. I'm really trying to grow the channel, so any support is much appreciated. Back to the video. So we're going to start with tip number one, and that is have something specific that you want to work on. So this can be anything. This can range from trying to master a specific scale, specific chord, song, technique, or anything like that. Have something specific to work on, like have some kind of goal in mind at least. So for example, let's start with songs. You have this, say if you have this one difficult song that you've been really trying to nail for weeks and weeks now, and it just isn't sort of, you've been chipping away at it, and it just, it's kind of gradually coming together, but that ultimately, once you master that song, and once you're able to play that song, all the way through, you get that feeling of satisfaction. You get that feeling of like, yes, I finally did it. And that's, it kind of doesn't matter. The difficulty is kind of going to be relative to where you are in your guitar playing life, really. If you've been playing only a couple of months and you learn to play even just a really simple song, that feeling of accomplishment is still equally valid. So yeah, have something specific that you want to work on. So even with a scale, try to learn think how am I going to master this scale, for example. Say if it's going to be a mode, like the Lydian mode or something like that. You think, oh, all right, okay, I have to get the fingering down. I have to know where it is on the neck. Okay, then I've done that. How am I gonna memorize the sound of it? How am I gonna learn the sound of it? So think of your guitar playing a bit like that. Think of your guitar practice a little bit like that. Just kind of think in your head how you're going to go forward with it and how you're gonna master it. So yeah, that's tip number one. Have something specific that you want to work on, and it'll give your practice a little bit more direction. Speaking of songs, tip number two is to jam along with songs. Jam along your favourite music. So this one is kind of under the umbrella of practice. It's a little bit of a grey area, a little bit ambiguous maybe, but the thing is, it's a win-win situation. So for example, if you are playing along with your favourite music all the time, there's two things that are happening. You're getting better at the instrument, so you get better at like mechanically playing the instrument, but you're also getting that reward for being able to play on with favorite music, and it makes it fun. So that's certainly what I did for the first couple of years, I think, before my guitar practice started getting a bit more, I guess a little bit more on the intense sort of technical and discipline side, you know what I mean? But it was, for the first couple of years, that's kind of all I wanted to do. I just want to play along with, like, Van Halen, Gary Moore, that kind of stuff. I wanted to play along with a lot of like the classic metal and the classic rock, and that really motivates you. Certainly for the initial stages, it's the music that's going to motivate you, and it's going to make you want to be better. So it's not practice, but it's not as cut and dry either. You know what I mean? So yeah, jam along with some of your favorite songs. Like I said before, you'll get a feeling of accomplishment that's actually quite easy to attain once you get into it. So yeah, jam along with favorite music. It doesn't have to be grueling work all of the time. My next tip will be to practice along with a drum machine or metronome. This is vital because this keeps your timekeeping ability honest. It tells you whether you're going slightly in front of it or whether you're going slightly behind. So if you have to play at 80 BPM, you have to play bang on 80 BPM. It's quite an unforgivable little device, really. And this is great for practicing your parts going into the studio as well. This is a really important one because more often than not, when you go into the studio, you're playing along to a click. And if you can't play along to a click in the band, well, I'm sure they'll find someone who will. It's just going to end in tears. So yeah, make sure that your parts are as bang on as you can, and the metronome will help you do that. Drum machines are really useful for that as well because they're kind of more of a simulation of a drummer, so they're probably maybe a little more inspiring. And they're more inspiring for writing as well. So whenever you're trying to write songs and write riffs, a drum machine is a really good rhythmic device. It's a really good reference. So you have that kind of, that drummer in the background just keeping constant time for you. So they're great writing tools as well as great tools of practice and discipline. And yeah, you can't stray from them. They keep you bang on all the time. So yeah, practice along with a drum machine and a metronome, and you'll be fine. And my final tip, which shares a little bit of common ground with number 2, is to practice along with backing tracks. Practice along with backing tracks as much as you can. These will help you to no end because you are learning multiple things at once. You're working on multiple things at the same time. So whenever you're trying to master a scale, for example, you're not only learning where the scale is and you're learning the fingering, and you learn it a lot quicker than just kind of playing it on its own. You're also learning how the scale sounds against the chords. How, for example, if you want to learn the B Dorian mode, you not only learn the fingering, but you also learn how that sounds against a chord sequence. You learn the sound of that mode, and the sound of that mode all of a sudden just opens up to you. And so you improve multiple things. You improve your phrasing, your timekeeping. Lots of things are just, lots of things are going in at once. So practice along with backing tracks as much as you can. It's always better to have some kind of musical reference point there all the time, because ultimately that's how it is when you're playing with people. When you're playing with people, you're playing along with. You're playing along with real people and real instruments, and backing track is kind of it's a sort of a bit of a simulation of that. So that'll whip you into shape pretty quickly. So whether it be you're trying to kind of learn a song, so if for example you want to learn a specific song, and then all of a sudden, okay, I'm going to try and play along with it, but without the guitar. See if you can find the backing track for that song, and then see if you can play along with it without the aid of the guitar on the original track. So that hones your timekeeping ability as well. It's a bit more of a challenge actually to do that. So yeah, work on stuff with backing tracks as much as you can. Always have some kind of music in the background, and you shouldn't go too far wrong. I hope that video was informative and helpful. If it was, do give it a thumbs up, and of course, do subscribe to the channel for future content. See you in the next video, everyone. Take care now.